There's not always a lot of space, but there's always plenty of room. Shabbat Shalom. This is Rabbi Robbie, and this is a message for our young professional community. First of all, I miss you, and I hope you're all doing well. There's not always a lot of space, but there's always plenty of room is a motto our family developed a number of years ago. You see, we had a small family of 4, and then overnight, due to circumstances in life, we wound up becoming a family of 10. And in that family of 10, we had no more space than we had when we had a family of 4. And there wasn't a lot of space, and yet there was so much room. We know so many people who live in 20, 30,000 square foot homes, and there's just so much space for 2 people. And yet there's no room for each other. There's no room in their lives. There's no room in their heart. There's no consideration, and there's no openness and vulnerability. And we know people who live in very small spaces, 1,800 square foot apartments, and yet there's so many people and there's no space. But there's just so much room, and there's room to spare. There's room for them to open their doors and open their home. They invite people to home for Shabbat, and they have guests. How is that possible? Because, my friends, space is physical. Room is spiritual. Room is in the heart. We don't always have the ability to have control over the circumstances of our space in life. Sometimes we just have limited space. But we always have control over the room we make in our heart. We always have the capacity to love bigger. We have the capacity to care deeper. We know that people need people. And so in this moment, we find ourselves in a very odd situation where we can't come together in a physical space. This weekend, we can't come together in the synagogue. We can't come together in the houses of worship. We can't come together around the Shabbat table and bring guests into our home in a physical space way. But we have the choice to make room. We make room in our hearts. We make room for each other in meaningful ways. And so as we approach this Shabbat, I think that maybe we come together in space sometimes, and that's a cop-out. We can have 100 or 500 people in a room, and everybody can be isolated and alone, even though we're sharing physical space. And this weekend, when we cannot share physical space, maybe we have the opportunity to break down those walls, to be less isolated, to care deeply, to be more vulnerable with each other, to reach out and say hello, to let somebody else know that we feel alone and we know they feel alone as well. That we can't just come together and share a physical space, so we're going to make room for each other in our lives. Reach out, call, text, WhatsApp, Zoom, whatever your medium is. Reach out and tell somebody you care about them and that you love them. Make room in your heart. This Shabbat, love bigger, care deeper. People need people. People need you. Shabbat Shalom. I hope that we'll all see each other again very soon and get together in this physical space as well. And maybe from this experience we'll learn that even when we can come together in a physical space, we'll still continue to make sure that there's plenty of room as well. Shabbat Shalom.